Hello everyone, and welcome to the GameCola podcast. My name is Paul Franzen. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of GameCola.net. And with me today are various other writers for the site. We have Christian Porter, Justin Luschinski,
hey,
and Alex Jedraszczak.
The Jetty.
The Jetty. Everyone, I guess you just did introduce yourselves. We'll go around again and tell us what you all do for the website.
All right, I'm Christian Porter, and I do little to nothing.
I'm Justin Luschinski. I write reviews on old PS2 games and game mods.
I'm Alex Jedraszczak, and normally I do the podcast, but Paul has taken over today.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, no.
Okay.
You've been usurped, Alex.
It happens.
All right, before we get started, I have a quick note for our listeners at home about the format of tonight's show. For the last several episodes, you may have noticed we've basically just picked one big topic and then kind of talked it to death over the course of an hour.
Even if we knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
We're trying something different this time. I've asked everyone who's participating today to bring one or two topics that they personally would like to talk about. And we're just going to go around the room, as it were, and talk about them in turn until we have what is roughly a podcast. So that's the plan. It's going to be awesome.
Yay.
But before we get started on that, Jetty,
What?
do we have any listener feedback from the last episode?
Paul, we do.
We do?
Surprisingly, yes.
Oh.
Apparently, someone posted this to YouTube, and we got a number of replies, mostly from one person, but we did get multiple replies, and then someone else actually commented on the article.
Wow.
Has that ever happened before? Has anyone ever commented on an article on GameCola.net?
I don't believe so.
Not people who aren't writers already for the site.
That's true. But yes, let me see. Let me take a look at this list. Saxdude Molloy on YouTube gave us the comment, "Big system seller for 3DS should be a port of the original Super Smash Brothers." What do you guys think? Because remember last time was all about 3D games, and we were talking about the 3DS, and will it actually have any games? They're saying they should port Super Smash Brothers to the 3DS.
The very first, 64 one?
That seems to be what he's saying.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, I think, because the DS has, Wi-Fi multiplayer stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
So
does.
I think even, ignoring the 3D part, having Wi-Fi multiplayer for Super Smash Brothers would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even if it wasn't just a full remake, even if it was just its own, they made its own little Smash Brothers, that would be fun.
Maybe just a 2D one, because I'm not sure. The 3DS, does it have a control, a stick, or does it still use the D-pad?
It does
That's
have a stick.
That's what I was going to say now. I mean, that might be cool, though, if they could figure out a way to work the, whatever that thing is called, the stick thing, into Super Smash Brothers, so that you somehow control the character using that.
Mm-hmm.
Could be good, could be annoying.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of 3D effects would a Smash Brothers game have? Because it's very, very much a 2D game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And maybe they just wouldn't bother with it. I mean, the 3D effects,
Well,
as we discussed before, the 3D effects in the game and for the 3DS games probably aren't going to be too essential because you can turn them off. So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they will just make games where they don't bother with the 3D effects, like they make Wii games that don't bother with motion controls.
Yeah, but
maybe.
I mean, they would probably work it in a gimmicky, effects and stuff would be like, whoa, coming out at you.
That's ridiculous. I've never seen Nintendo do a gimmicky thing in their life.
Yeah, it's true. Where would you get that idea?
I refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
Anyway, then we have 4 comments from Rizaman33 on YouTube. Number 1, this podcast got boring at the beginning, then it got funnier at the end.
I
That actually
disagree.
surprised
It was boring the whole way through.
Oh.
I was going to say is I didn't know that listeners actually listened to the whole podcast.
I will give them credit for that.
Well, I did notice that our YouTube video version of the podcast, the first video always has like 5 or 6 times as many views as all of the rest. No, I'm not sure what that says about the podcast.
They really like the theme song. Thank you, Mateo. Okay, his second comment is, "Where's Michael Gray?" Now, actually, Michael Gray was in that podcast.
He was. He said like 2 things, didn't he? 2 or 3 things?
Yes, 2 or 3 things. Also, although sadly you can't quite tell, but Colin was also in the podcast, except that he sounds incredibly similar in the few words that he said to Christian Porter. So
I did notice that, yeah.
I'll take full credit as long as it was good.
But yes.
How did Michael and Colin appear in the last podcast? Because they weren't there in the room with us. Well, I guess none of us are in the room together, but...
Yes, they were, Paul.
They were?
Yes,
Okay.
They were there. Yes, Michael Gray was in the last podcast. Then he said, "Can you do walkthroughs for Phoenix Wright 3 and Apollo Justice?" Now, I'm confused by this because I did not know that GameCola covered Phoenix Wright.
I thought it was just kind of unspoken that that's a game we don't touch around here. We're just not interested.
You guys are not going to trick me with your sarcasm this time. I'm not falling for that trap again.
I think that is probably a yes, but not because you said so, but because we're going to do it eventually anyway.
Eventually, though, for all of our YouTube fans out there, I think Michael Gray is taking a bit of a hiatus from those videos. Though, that said, just yesterday, me and Michael did record a different video walkthrough for the YouTube page that'll be coming shortly. We played...
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we didn't play through a Phoenix Wright game. We played through a classic Sierra adventure game called The Adventures of Willie Beamish. So look forward to that.
Yikes.
Ooh.
I remember the review for that a while back. And then one final comment from Rizaman33. "You're fired." Now, I'm not sure what "my fired" has to do with this, or what he was responding to, but he did say, "You're fired."
So thanks, Rizaman, for all your input.
Maybe it's a reference to pottery.
Moving on to the next one, our actual comment on the actual site from an actual reader.
Goodness.
Yeah, this one's kind of cool because this could also be like our first discussion topic for today's show.
It's true. West Twisp says, "Can you give me some advice not to be made fun of at school when mentioning video games like that no person at my school knows about, like Mega Man, Phoenix Wright, or when mentioning GameCola and watching videos and reading reviews, please?" So, I'm assuming that this person is in high school, and none of their friends like video games, and they want to know how to bring up video games with their friends without being made fun of. Is that possible? I mean, because I remember when I was in high school, I didn't have any friends who played video games.
You know, I'm actually surprised that would be as much an issue now as it was when we were all high school age. I figured video games are a little more popular now than they were then.
Yeah.
And, like I feel like when I was little, video games was much more dorky and not something that everyone did. Whereas now, everyone has their DS whatevers, their DS Lites and their Wii's and whatnots.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't remember when I was in high school. It wasn't that long ago, but I mean I don't remember it being super unpopular unless Well, most people played at least, like one video game at the time, so it wasn't too bad. As long as you don't as long as it's not the only thing you talk about, I don't think anybody should really care.
But then it's not very good if none of them play video games. You're like, hey, how about that Mega Man game or something? They're like, what now? Does that
or even worse, how about that Phoenix Wright? That awesome game where you play as a lawyer? That's awesome.
It's a lawyer
cool, right?
sim. No, I don't know that. I watched football yesterday.
Yeah,
so maybe this person is just talking with the wrong people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but I also grew up in a relatively populated area where I had a variety of people I could talk to. So, if I didn't get along with some people,